All right, looks like we are live on YouTube and on Rumble. So what's going on, guys? Welcome back to Jam Crypto. Well, today, Ethereum is absolutely crushing it. Like I saw when I woke up and I saw like 4,600. Right now, it's getting really close to its previous all-time high of 4,800. So let's see if Ethereum would manage to break its previous all-time high and previous resistance. But like a lot is going on. Like first of all, I'm getting texts from some of my friends that I haven't spoken to in a while. And he was asking me, oh, why is Ethereum crushing it? That's when I was a little bit concerned because those are the early sign of a bear market becoming like coming to an end. Well, obviously, this is just one of the signs. It's not like a metric, like an actual metric, but like when more and more people around you and text you and ask you about how crypto is doing, that is maybe perhaps a time to take some profit. But like looking at the chart, looking at the Bitcoin cycle, we still have time. Is perhaps my friends are a little bit early to send me the text. I was I was like, oh, what's going on? Like, shit, are we gonna back to that prolonged bear market again? But like, this is just like a few tags that I've been guessing. Let's look at the actual metrics, like what's supporting this pump, like why is Ethereum crushing it? Well, turns out like Ethereum spot ETF have seen like the massive inflow per day, like breaking new all-time high. I think like $1 billion inflow within just a day. So that's really impressive. And also there's like short squeeze, and we all know how that plays out. So anyways, let's look at charts because there's a lot to cover today. So without wasting too much time, I like to open the show with the Bitcoin chart first. So this rectangle, by the way, let me know in the chat if my screen is too small. Like I'm zooming closer than before. Should be okay now, but please let me know in the chat. So this rectangle I actually drew in the last stream, so 2 days ago, and it's playing out fabulously. Like usually August would be a month like more boring because I keep going back to this chart. If you go to August, so here, like 8 months, if you count this at the 8th month, or if not, maybe 7 months out of 11 months, we end up seeing a dip in August. But it seems like it's not the case. Again, we are only in the middle of August, so let's see how it plays out. Right now, we are generating 3% of return in the month of August. But like if August we end up getting a positive number, then I'm almost like mentally prepared to have a dip in September. The reason why is that like if you go to like July, August, and September, there were cases that both months get positive numbers, but like September would always end up with a dip. So this is what happened in 2017. That's what happened in 2020, 2021. So if we end up on a positive return in August, then I'm almost prepared for a dip in September. I mean, it's just like a healthy pullback, right? So yeah, so that's the August month. So I'm almost prepared that Bitcoin likely gonna bounce within this rectangle. Like remember, I drew this rectangle in my previous streams. The reason why I drew this because I'm seeing like so much price data within this region. So 116K to 120K. The reason why I wouldn't go to like the previous all-time high of 123K is because if you look at that box, like these data above the box, they are all wicks. So there isn't a single candle that would close above the box. What I would like to see, like if I for more bullish signs, is that there's an actual candle to close above this region. Otherwise, I'm more leaning towards to Bitcoin just consolidating within this box. Perhaps we'll get like some wicks like that, but unless there's like an actual candle closing above this region, like this box, then I'm leaning towards trading sideways within this box. And yeah, so this support we could like remove for now. I drew when there was like a dip for 112K, but again, 112K is also a major support, a critical level, because that was the previous all-time high in May. So yeah, that's for Bitcoin. And honestly speaking, like if Bitcoin is trading sideways, it's actually quite beneficial for us altcoin holders or even Ethereum, because what we want Bitcoin to do is that Bitcoin basically do nothing. Just trade within this box. Because if Bitcoin go to another all-time high, of course it's good news for us Bitcoin holders, but like for altcoins or Ethereum, that is kind of taking the traction away from Ethereum or from altcoins. So best case scenario is for Bitcoin to trade sideways, maybe some weeks. And then what we can do is to look at Ethereum, because Ethereum is really rising against BTC, is rising even more compared to BTC. So here we have this critical resistance at 0.04 against BTC. And you can look at this this price data. I'm loving what I see. So there's this 29% pump against BTC for Ethereum in just 11 days. So just under 11 days. So Ethereum is showing so much bullishness, so much a huge rally. So if you guys haven't held any Ethereum, I think it's really is a good time to consider, because when you look at news like this, like SharpLink is adding another $400 million into Ethereum. This literally just came out a few hours ago, so 12th of August. So you have news like this, and also like BitMine. Wait, where's the chart again? So BitMine is right now I think the third biggest treasury company in the world, and they are adding Ethereum to the balance sheet like there's no tomorrow. So people are saying, oh, what's the prediction then? Well, obviously I don't have a magic ball, but like I like what TA, like how the charts are presenting all this data to me, because like when you compare the ETH versus BTC and ETH versus USD, like I like how things align and how things make sense to me. So obviously, if you hop onto the ETH USD chart, you're seeing this huge resistance at 4,800, because that is the previous all-time high in November 2021. So like I'm predicting that we are likely gonna, since that Ethereum is showing no sign of stopping, I won't be surprised that we touch all-time high, so 4,800, and then we have a dip, and then touch 4,800 again. So maybe like consolidate a little bit, because this is a major resistance that we have been building for years. So I won't be surprised we see that, or maybe we'll reach 4,800 today. I don't know, but like what I like about TA is that, okay, I drew this resistance for ETH versus BTC at 0.04. The reason why I drew right here is because like we are seeing this, like first of all, we are acting as a resistance line at 0.04. But if you also zoom out, going back to 2024, it has been reaching, like it has been acting as like the support line. Back in August 2024, we touched once, and then we touch again in late August, and then boom, we crashed. and then this one is this line is now acting as the resistance. So 0.04 is a key level I'm watching. So if you go to 0.04, and right now Bitcoin is trading at 120K. So let's do a little calculation. 0.04 times 120K. So 4,800. So first of all, from the ETH BTC chart, it's telling me that, okay, reaching 4,800 is very likely, perhaps very soon. So that's one chart. And if you take the Bitcoin all-time high, so I would say like Bitcoin could easily reach that 150K. Like now I'm being conscious, like 140K, right? So 140K, if we assume that, wait, how do you cancel? Oh, right. So if we assume that the Bitcoin ETH versus BTC remains at 0.04, and we take 150,000 for BTC price, then we get like 6,000 ETH. Like, I don't think I'm being crazy here. Like 6,000 ETH, I think is reachable. As for how high Bitcoin would go, in my previous stream, like I keep looking back to the BTC regression band. BTC regression band. So if we just take into the account, so we on the logarithmic scale, if we take into account, then 200K I would say is on the table. But right here, I'm being even more conscious, like 150K. Like I'm sure people would like don't think I'm being crazy here. Like let me know in the chat if you think 150K by 2025 is not reachable for Bitcoin. If so, if we remain 0.04 ETH versus BTC, then 6,000 ETH is not like a dream in 2025, I would say. Yeah, so that's how bullish I am for Ethereum. And another reason is like short squeeze. This is like textbook explanation as of why ETH or certain asset pump so much, right? So $135 million worth of ETH shorts liquidated in the past 60 minutes. So that would help like push up the price a little bit as well. So pretty textbook standard. But let's also look at the spot ETF inflow. The reason why we're looking at this so much because like this market, this cycle is weird. It's driven by institutions. And right now we're seeing like multi-millions of dollars or even billions of dollars flowing into the Bitcoin market. And it's really moving the market. That's why we're seeing the pump. So that's why we are looking at this chart so much. Again, we are at the BTC in terms of how much BTC. Let's also look at the USD. So as for USD, there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So 5 consecutive days of positive inflow. Last week was it triggered a little bit of a panic in the market because, okay, 4 consecutive days, more than $1 billion flowing out from this spot ETF. So that's why people are worried. But as of today, like we know that it was like a nothing burger. It was just like panic. Some people panic sold, and we're just saying, okay, thank you. Thanks for doing that. So that's for Bitcoin spot ETF. Let's also look at how Ethereum is doing. So Ethereum, I was like, so like, first of all, I have to zoom closer. Otherwise, you guys can't see. So Ethereum ETF. So we are on ETH terms. So there are like 100 of thousands of ETH being added as of USD value. So there are $1 billion inflow from this ETH spot ETF. That is like record high. This is another reason why I'm so bullish on Ethereum. And also when you look at the treasury company trend, I remember I think the first stream that I did about the ETH treasury, there are only like 12 companies on this list. Like the list is expanding, and I know there are a few more companies being added into the list that haven't shown in this list right now. And if you look at Bitmine and like what Sharplink is doing, again, like when I open the show, I talk about they raised another 400 million for the Ethereum treasury. And Bitmine is really moving rocks for Ethereum because Tom Lee is basically the Michael Saylor for Ethereum, no question being asked. Bitmine is now actually the third largest crypto company, just behind MicroStrategy, just behind Marathon. So it's an incredible young company coming to the treasury play, coming to the market. And I'm so impressed by how fast they are adding Ethereum to the list. It's actually at a lightning fast pursuit. And the reason why they're buying so much so quickly, because Tom Lee being the biggest shill for Ethereum, he's basically talked about Ethereum every single day on CNBC. So his target is to purchase 5% of ETH's total supply. So that's why he's buying so much. But I'm impressed by the pace and how fast he's doing such thing. Because like, okay, to put things into perspective, Bitmine announced that $2 billion Ethereum buy. So that would approximately match MicroStrategy's recent purchase of 21,000 BTC. But the key difference is that MicroStrategy has a $155 billion market cap. While if you look at Bitmine, it's only at 7 billion market cap. So that's really impressive. That's really something. So Bitmine is really moving rocks for Ethereum like never before, and achieve something that it takes decades or even years for other companies to achieve what it did. So that's pretty remarkable. And yeah, if you guys don't have any Ethereum, then yeah, too bad. I think because I have been holding Ethereum through thick and thin. I've been holding since even back in 2021. So when Ethereum was taking so much shit, like myself included, because like obviously I was salty as well. Bitcoin was crushing new all-time high when I hold both assets. I love both assets, but like when you're seeing Bitcoin is achieving so much, Ethereum is basically sleeping, and there was some drama about layer 2. Some people would lose confidence, and I was complaining a little bit on Twitter as well. If you guys follow me on Twitter, then you would know. But like, all I'm saying is that patience really pays off. And right now, we're finally reaping the reward for Ethereum, and we're reaching the previous all-time high, 4,800. Let's see if we manage to do that within today. I'll keep you guys updated on Twitter, even after this live stream. All right, so good stuff. That's for Ethereum. Let's also look at tariffs, because it's time to move on to some macro news. So I'm updating you guys about tariffs because it's constantly changing. So right now, the US has tariffs of like average of 17%. So here's the details. So most imports into the US will now face a baseline 10% duty, with the overall average effective tariff rate rising to more than 17%, the highest since 1935 during the Great Depression. A wide variety of products will be hit, Tariffs will be collected on everything from EU appliance, Japanese cars, to food, furniture, toys from China, and TVs from South Korea. Selected oil and gas imports, along with some smartphones and a suite of goods covered by pre-existing trade agreement with Canada and Mexico, are not affected. So what is this saying? Why are we looking at tariffs? Because, well, whether we like it or not, Bitcoin is actually tightly tied with the geopolitics or macro, how the economy is doing. So economists are now drawing comparisons between what's happening currently with tariffs, with Donald Trump, and the Great Depression. So I think I pull out the well, is it not here? Well, anyway, so they are right here. So they're pulling comparison between what happened back in 1930 and Donald Trump. So why is that? So here's the details. So back in 1930s, there's this like tariff called Smoot-Hawley Tariff Act. And it was a law passed by the United States Congress that significantly raised tariffs on imported goods. So what happened was that they raised the goods to an average of 59% of tariffs on average. So what it meant, like why did US do this was to protect US farmers and factories during early Great Depression. However, the result was that over 25 countries retaliated. So US imports actually fell 66% and export fell like 61% by 1933. So global trade also collapsed by 2/3. Unemployment rate went like from 8% to 25%. So GDP fell as well. People are drawing ties between this because like economists today warns that Donald Trump 17% tariff rates would risk a modern trade war, inflation, or slower growth. And this 17%, like some studies did some calculation, it will cost household about $2,800 a year. So similar consumer pain back to 1930. But the key difference here, like I don't think a lot of people mention, is that back in 1930s, American people was actually experiencing deflationary pressure instead of inflationary, while right now we're actually experiencing inflation. So CPI report in July is actually 2.7%. It rose from like 2.4 in May, now 2.7%. So yeah, so people were saying, oh, is the tariffs causing this problem? Well, most likely or not, like tariffs would play a factor why it rose a little bit because back in 1930s, it was deflationary because, well, everything is so expensive, then people might as well just not spend. But that was like really extreme cases during the war. While today we still have like inflation, so 2.7%. So another like, I kind of want to circle back to what I mentioned in the previous stream about the gold tariffs. Because like, so what happened last week out of nowhere? So on 8th of August, US Customs say that they're going to imply 39% tariff rate on imported gold bars. So gold bars that exist 1 kg or 100 ounce will be tariffed. And because of this news, gold spike. Let me zoom closer. So because of this news, gold spiked to a new all-time high. So can you tell when was the news being announced? So obviously it's right here. Like you see this huge spike and it spiked to like 3,500 an ounce. So new all-time high because traders fear that the US market will isolate gold. But as of right now, as of 12th of August, Donald Trump is out again saying gold will not be tariffed, and price drops to it's retracing, like right after this news is retracing at 3,300 an ounce. So why the sudden shift? Like why the 180? I thought like a few days ago, Donald Trump, I don't know about Donald Trump, maybe like the US is saying it's going to be tariffed. Well, maybe it's like a reclassification mistake. Or maybe the US saw so much panic in the market, at the same time it's hurting US investors, so kind of force a U-turn. I don't know, but like the whole thing is just like, it sounds very Donald Trump. Like Donald Trump like to pull in 180, and he also have like a pro hard asset stance. So gold exemptions actually keeps US aligned with de-dollarization hedging trends. So maybe that's why. Anyways, I'm not sure if you guys hold any gold. I just want to give you guys the update because things are changing so quickly. That's why we're doing this live stream to quickly keep you in the loop about basically what happened around the whole world. All right, so gold is no longer being targeted. But yeah, what about US and China? So US and China, well, do I have an, oh, okay. So US and China, as I mentioned in the last live stream, the deadline get postponed again. And there was no surprise there because that's why I mentioned in the previous show as well. So the current rate the US is charging Chinese goods is 30%, while China is charging 10% on US goods. And because since they extended the deadline for 90 days, that would mean the deadline is now postponed to 10th of November. So they're still trying to negotiate the IP right, rare earth exports and chip restrictions. So yeah, this kind of circle back to what I mentioned earlier about tariffs affecting inflation, because most case or not, tariffs consumers going to pay the cost, and in that case, American are going to pay the cost. But we are not seeing that such a huge effect right now. Like the number is still rose from 2.4% to 2.7% in July. So it didn't rise quite a lot. I have a theory for that because a lot of businesses actually stack up a lot of inventories in their factories. They saw that they have this tariff deals between countries. They were extremely scared. That's why they stock up a lot of inventories. So that inventories, like when you see delay like this between the US versus China tariff deal got delayed, it's actually providing some cushion for businesses so they can stock up more inventories before that tariffs actually took off, like come into effect. So what I'm saying that like Q1 and Q2, like all these inventories, we're still using the previous inventories that have been stocked up, and slowly the inventories will be gone, and the tariffs, like inflation effect, gonna actually come to life. So I'm actually watching Q4 closely, since right now the deal being delayed again. Let's see what happened in Q4, because US and China, they are like the most important countries in the world. So this is I'm closely watching what's going to happen in November, and I'll keep you guys updated with the whole tariff situation. As of other countries, I think India, they're escalating the war between India, US. With India, they now have 25% tariff rate, but they plan to rise to 50%. the reason why the US is targeting India, so they claim, because India keeps buying Russian oil, and because if they purchase so much Russian oil, it's kind of diminishing the effect of the sanction for Russia. So the US doesn't like that, so they want to punish India. That makes sense, right? So US imports from India mainly include goods like pharma, fabric, jam. So this could potentially push up the price for drugs and clothing prices. So that's something I'm watching closely as well. Another update, well, there's so much going on. I'm a little bit like thirsty right now. All right, another juicy news in the market. So Trump is now threatening to sue Jerome Powell. That's what the White House said. So this happened on 12th of August, basically just a few hours ago. So Donald Trump said that he will allow a lawsuit against Fed Chair Jerome Powell about that renovation at $2.5 billion or $3.1 billion for that renovation, for that extra marble. We all know it's not about the marbles. But Donald Trump also accused Jerome Powell of keeping rates really high, currently at 4.25% to 4.5%. So he's not happy about that. And he has been calling Jerome Powell like Jerome Too Late Powell. That's interesting. So what Donald Trump wants is for Jerome Powell to be gone by May 2026, because that's the deadline for Jerome Powell, and going to change term. But Donald Trump wants Jerome Powell to be gone earlier. Basically, he just wants someone to cut rates sooner before the election season. But like, I personally, I think Jerome Powell has done a decent job, because when you look at the inflation, let's go back to all the way to 2022. Like when we had that peak inflation of 9.1%, right now we've been down, like inflation came down to 2.7%. So that's really something. At the end of the day, the Fed only had two tools. They either can print money, so increase liquidity in the market via buying bonds, or like lower rates. That's the only tools they have, these two tools. Jerome Powell still managed to like bring down inflation, despite inflation was mainly caused by fiscal dominance. So back in the days when there was like inflation, like double-digit inflation, it's not showing here, but back in the days in the US history when there was double-digit inflation, it was mainly caused by like baby boomers, like excessive spending, buying houses from like consumers itself. While right now, inflation is actually caused by the US government excessive spending, especially back in 2020, to like they have to keep the government spending high to avoid the country going into recession. That's why we have huge inflation. So I'm quite impressed by Jerome Powell, I have to say. Like they still managed to bring inflation down. Unemployment is rising a little bit at 4.2%. Yeah, so people are saying that there will certainly be a rate cut. So this is the probabilities for the rate cut in September. So basically 94% of people predict that there will be a 25 basis point rate cut. Only 5% of people will think that the rate going to remain the same. So I'm siding with a rate cut because the labor market is showing so much weakness. So it actually makes sense to have a rate cut. So some people ask if the Fed is caring more about the labor market instead of inflation, because the Fed actually just looking at two goals: inflation and the labor market. That's all they're looking at. The reason why we like a lot of people think I'm with those people, like 94% of people think there'll be a rate cut, is because like the inflation right now, it feels more like temporary, while the labor market is long term. That's why the Fed is taking into account more likely there will be a rate cut in September. At least that's how like more logical thinking. Let's see how it plays out. The Fed meeting will be between 17th of September to 18th of September. So on 18th September, we'll have the result, whether it's going to be a rate cut or not. But anyways, like this all tie back to like everything tied together. That's why I like looking at macro and like the whole global news. So short-term wise, we're going to get more news about like tariffs like this. Sometimes we have like a panic sell in whether Bitcoin market or stock market. Maybe you see BTC dip like 3% or something. There will be like higher costs for mining hardware from China. So that's more like the short-term impact. But long-term wise, I do believe that tariffs gonna, first of all, weaken the US dollar, cause inflation. So therefore, long-term wise, gonna bring more demand for hard assets like Bitcoin, like gold, like stocks. So this another thing I want to mention, and the gold exemption actually strengthens the idea of BTC. Like BTC could really be the digital gold alternative, and like guess what cannot be tariffed? BTC. So yeah. Send this video to your friends that who still haven't owned any BTC, because I think it's not just about like investing. Like of course, like you seeing your money going up in value. That's like a best feeling ever. But at the same time, like BTC is like a flight to safety. And when we are at 2025 and wars are happening, some physical war in some regions and even trade war, like there's so much uncertainty in this day and age. Like sometimes when I look at the news, I actually get very depressed, like what the world is going on. But what we could do to protect ourselves is perhaps owning some hardcore asset like BTC or even gold. Like I like both of them, and it's always good to diversify. It's not like, oh, if you own gold, you can't own BTC. Like it's not like a competition. But I think both of these assets have different nature, and it's okay to own both. But if I have to choose one, I'll choose BTC. I definitely prefer BTC. Okay, so that's for the macro. Well, I can't believe I'm talking about the macro for how long? 38 minutes. Gosh. All right, so next, let's look at some AI news, because there is more juicy AI news going on in this world. So Elon Musk versus Apple. What's going on? So Elon Musk posted this just a few hours ago. Apple is behaving in a manner that makes it impossible for any AI company besides OpenAI to reach #1 in App Store. XAI will immediately take legal action. So why is Donald Trump so mad? So Donald Trump is saying that Apple is manipulating the App Store rankings to favor OpenAI's ChatGPT over his own AI chatbot like Grok. Well, I don't know how many of you use Grok. Like, I love Grok. I talk to Grok every single day, not just learning knowledge from it, but at the same time, it acts like a therapy. Like, I can't imagine, like, back in the days, how did I survive for so many years without AI or without Grok? But anyways, let's come back to the AI news. So the context is that Elon Musk has Elon Musk really hate, I won't say use the word hate, but they have like the lawsuit against OpenAI and Sam Altman, and the trial set for March 2026. So Elon Musk and OpenAI actually goes way back. First of all, Elon Musk co-founded OpenAI back in 2015. And it started out as non-profit. So the mission is to make AI safe for humanity. All right, so that's what they claim, humanity. So Elon Musk left in 2018 after losing control and warning that AI is more dangerous than nukes. I think Elon Musk mentioned this at some conference or some interview. I remember watching that video. And then Elon Musk, what happened was that he sued OpenAI and Sam Altman for fraud, breach of contract, antitrust violation, and says OpenAI sold out to Microsoft for profit. Because Elon Musk was so mad, that's why he launches XAI and integrates Grok into X, into Twitter. And Elon Musk even, that's so cool about Elon Musk. He even over $97 billion to buy OpenAI. But Sam Altman, of course, he didn't like that. He was mocking Elon Musk and with a counter offer to buy X instead. So I think it's pretty funny to see like billionaires fighting each other. It's quite juicy. All right, so that's for Elon Musk versus OpenAI. As for Elon Musk versus Apple, he accused Apple of threatening to even remove X from App Store. Later, of course, he called it a misunderstanding. And then Apple partnered with OpenAI. That was like back in June 2024. So, and then Apple partnered with OpenAI to put ChatGPT into phones, and then Elon Musk threatened to ban Apple devices even at Tesla and SpaceX. So I think like the whole thing, it feels more like personal than some actual allegation. I don't know. So Elon Musk said that, well, first of all, Grok is like the smartest AI, smartest LM, closest to AGI that could ever be existed. So Elon Musk said that Grok was number 5 in overall App Store rankings, but excluded from Apple's must-have apps list, while ChatGPT was featured. So he's suggesting Apple is boosting OpenAI intentionally. Apple, of course, denying the bias. Like Apple saying an app store is designed to be fair and free of bias. But interestingly, what I spot at this tweet of Elon Musk, if you look at the community note down here, just right beneath Elon Musk's tweet, so Grok is adding the context. We know that there's this deal, this partnership between OpenAI and Apple back in June 2024 last year. But in January, like DeepSeek actually reached number 1 overall on App Store. And just a month ago, on July 2025, Perplexity also reached number 1 overall in India's App Store. So it's quite interesting to see this community note point out that maybe it's not entirely true. I don't know. And what's even more interesting is that when you ask Grok about the incident between this claim, like Grok's AI side is actually siding with Sam Altman and saying that Elon Musk is more like the own allegation and algorithm manipulation on X. So of course, Elon Musk saw that and he called it false and promised to fix Grok. Yeah, that's pretty juicy. And then, what I was saying, I've been talking for 44 minutes. All right, so I'll try to wrap it up quickly because I have to go. All right, so maybe we could dive into the partnership between OpenAI and Apple. So this partnership started last year, and what it does is basically it means that ChatGPT handles all the complex questions and image document analysis whenever there's like a Siri request on Apple device, on OpenAI. And then ChatGPT would also help with the writing, image generation built into iOS, iPad OS, Mac OS. And then there will be free basic use. But if you connect your ChatGPT Plus account, you get some premium service on your Apple device. So that is the deal. However, it doesn't work financially. So there's no cash from Apple to OpenAI. So instead, like Apple puts ChatGPT in front of their 2+ billion devices. So that gives ChatGPT a massive exposure. And OpenAI, of course, like would benefit from more premium subscribers because like the more access to ChatGPT, the higher the number, like the likelihood of people subscribing to premium service on ChatGPT. And Microsoft also indirectly profits from this because Microsoft owns 49% of OpenAI profit share. So Apple benefits by selling more AI-powered devices. So think like iPhone 16 upgrades. That's why Elon think it's more like a bias. It does look like a bias because ChatGPT is baked into Apple's iOS. So it's featured in marketing, App Store must-have list. Apple also claims that the store is fair and free of bias, but partners, of course, always get visibility bumps, similar to like how Apple promotes its own service. I mean, at the end of the day, it makes sense, right? Like, if I close up with a person, or if I partner with certain platform, then the likelihood of like talking about that platform would increase compared to something I don't know, right? Or I haven't tested out. Like Apple has texted with Anthropic as an alternative, but OpenAI is still the main partner in 2025. So how this fits Apple's bigger picture. So first of all, Apple's been behind in generative AI, like versus Google or Microsoft, because Apple has been on a downtrend. I'm certain that we all know that already, especially if you use iPhone. Like every single time we get a new iPhone, it's basically the same, and there's no innovation from that company anymore. And Apple is basically declining. And so Apple partnering with OpenAI definitely closed the gap with all these like tech giants, I don't know, like Google or Microsoft, closing that gap fast without massive investment into in-house R&D. So Apple needed this. And boosting ChatGPT is good for Apple, Apple's AI narrative and device sales. So even Apple sets no bias, like the incentives are pretty clear. So I would say Elon Musk is not coming saying this out of nowhere. There might be some manipulation. So yeah, like some people short term is very pro Elon, saying that okay, it's gonna expose the algorithm of Apple. It's actually a good thing. However, I don't think it's going to be like immediate lawsuit. I personally, I much prefer looking at things at more like a broader perspective, what it means for this news, basically. I think the bigger risk right here might actually be like centralization. Like we know all these AI, like tech giants control our data. All our data is controlled by like Tesla, Microsoft, Google. And basically, when you control the data, you own the world. And I would say Elon Musk is right now, first of all, he's the richest. And second of all, he's the most powerful person on earth right now. he controls a lot of data. He owns the space, like all the satellite, and even Tesla. Like he's been building Tesla for years, and Tesla is like an AI machine because it's constantly collecting data. So everything is super centralized. That's only for Tesla, and we all know Google is just another very centralized entity that control all of our data. So I would say the whole thing, it feels more like a wake-up call for me. Like we know the AI data is being controlled by just like a few giants. The question is whether we want this, like whether we want to continue living in that matrix. Like maybe we don't have a choice to exist this matrix, but this kind of circled back to the idea why when I saw some projects that the core idea is to decentralize AI data. I like that a lot. And that is the reason why I like Punty AI a lot, because that's the core problem that they're trying to tackle. And if you guys don't know about Punty AI, I actually did a few videos already. So this is the latest one I did a month ago. So the core idea, what they're doing is that, for example, if you go on Google, you have the capture box. What they ask you is to, select the images with the fire hydrant. And what you're doing right there, like clicking those boxes, you're essentially training AI for free, like giving out the data for free to giants like Google. So Punty AI saw this as like a problem, as like just a few giants controlling all our data, whether you like it or not. Like it's just a hard truth, but some people still don't see it because they didn't even know there's a matrix going on. So I like what Punty AI is doing. That's why I've been talking about it for a long time. So I'll advise you to watch the videos about Punty AI and what they're doing, the core idea. So basically the handle is Punty AI on X as well. So do give it a follow. Yeah, so mostly I think I've covered everything that I want to say in this video. Yeah, so make sure to give me a follow on my X as well, because I don't always have the time to do long videos like this. My handle is JemJemCrypto. Sorry. My handle is JemJemCrypto. And then, I did this video about the robo-taxi. It's pretty cool. Went to Shenzhen, went to China, tried this. I was a little bit scared at first, but like I got used to it pretty quickly. And I think the whole experience is pretty cool. So do give the video a watch. And yeah, let's see if Ethereum would crush it to its previous all-time high, 4,800. Like we're so close. I'll keep you guys updated on X and see if we manage to break through the resistance. Like I'm more cautious. I think we'll touch it and then we'll get rejected. But let's see how it goes. As always, like I'm doing this live stream a lot more often. Every other day. My time, because I based in Asia, I live in Hong Kong, so my time zone is a little bit weird. I usually do it at like 5 p.m. Hong Kong time. That would be like 5 a.m. Eastern time in US. But you guys can always watch the playback. So anyways, do stay tuned. Do subscribe to my YouTube if you haven't already, and make sure to turn on the notification bell so you don't miss any updates. So